Israel denies it was responsible, blaming Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Jordan, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia condemn what they say was an Israeli attack. The missile hit the hospital not long after dark.
Ya Allah! Ya Allah! Ya Allah!
You can hear the impact. The explosion destroyed Al Akhli Hospital. It was already damaged from a smaller attack at the weekend. The building was flattened. Very soon, video was posted from Gaza of bodies laid out near the ruins of the hospital.
It wasn't a strike on the hospital itself.
And just briefly, if you were to have seen a strike, a true strike coming from Israel, I want to also just, as I'm saying this, show you, this is an image that shows, according to the IDF, the trajectory of this rocket. And it comes from somewhere inside of northern Gaza, and it goes this direction. It goes east.
What you have here is something called a point of origin.
Yeah.
That's where the rocket was fired from, right where that red dot is. You see multiple tracers coming off of those. Those are the different rockets that come out of that rocket pod. The one that came out right here came out over the hospital, and I believe that that was the one that lost its engine and fell on close to the hospital, not on the hospital. So this is part of the proof that the Israeli Defense Forces gave. They said, hey, here, this is something called a Q-36 radar. They use these radars to connect with the Iron Dome to shoot down rockets. So when you see all these coming off of a missile site and one dropping over the top of a hospital, you can see where it was truthfully an accident, a missile that didn't go through to its final mission.
Yeah.
The Palestinian position is essentially that it must have been an Israeli airstrike, and there's no proof that there was an Israeli airstrike. I've seen nothing. I was listening for it. I was looking for it. There's nothing. They said it must have been because they say, why would Palestinians attack Palestinians? Okay, that's their position. IDF, on the other hand, has looked at this. They've done a forensic analysis of what was going on. I also think there'll be more outside third-party stuff. You know, for example, the U.S. has a large naval carrier task force offshore. They're tracking air traffic throughout there, so they should be able to, you know, depending on how much they want to share, they should be able to confirm or deny whether there was Israeli aircraft that were in the area that could have done a strike. But the Israelis have come out and said, look, we had a drone flying over doing surveillance that picked up on what was going on. That sounds very consistent. At any given time, there usually is an Israeli drone doing surveillance over the Gaza Strip. And they said, we saw the missile launch. The other thing that they say is they have a signals intelligence intercept of a communication from Islamic Jihad, basically saying that one of their missiles went astray, in so many words, and landed in the Gaza Strip. And
according to our intelligence, Hamas checked the reports, understood it was an Islamic Jihad rocket that had misfired, and decided to launch a global media campaign to hide what really happened.
They present what they say is two Hamas operatives talking about the attack. Hamas call this an obvious fabrication. Two independent Arab journalists told us the same thing because of the language, accent, dialect, syntax and tone, none of which is, they say, credible. Equally, Israel claims the Islamic Jihad failed missile was fired from here, a cemetery very close to the hospital. But look again at the video of the event. The trajectory of the missile doesn't line up with that location. Too high, too horizontal. Confusingly, the Israelis' presentation also says the missile was fired from a location down in the southwest. It can't be both. Islamic Jihad say it was an Israeli missile and they have the warhead to prove it, but they haven't produced it.
I wanted to be here today.
So Joe Biden believes Israel, so does the UN. Much of the Arab world and many beyond it do not. And Israel has form when it comes to war propaganda. Its claims about not being responsible for shooting dead British filmmaker James Miller in Gaza 20 years ago were widely dismissed not least by a British court. Israel denied shooting dead Palestinian-American photojournalist Shireen Abu Akleh last year, only to backtrack later on admitting they probably did kill her. Just two examples from a long track record. And as we've seen, Israel has already attacked this hospital, and yesterday it's accused of bombing a UN-protected school, killing several civilians. Israel and Hamas can tweet what they like. The truth of what happened here last night requires independent, expert investigation. Not happening.
Video, the phone video from the balcony that had all of the markings of an airstrike. The fact that the Israeli Air Force was enacting a bombing campaign in the region at the time, according to the Al Jazeera live streaming footage that everyone is using but doesn't understand. The fact that the digital media person for the IDF immediately came out and said that this was actually an airstrike that hit a Hamas.
At least he got it right. At least he got it right. The digital media person. Why would anybody listen to him? Why are you acting like he has any sort of authority? It's the freaking digital media person. He runs the YouTube channel. He runs the YouTube channel. That's it. That's all. He runs the YouTube channel. The freaking digital media guy. He's a YouTuber. That's it. That's all he is. Why are you quoting him? Why are you even bringing up that he said anything? It doesn't matter what he says. If it doesn't relate to the freaking YouTube channel, nobody cares. Why are you bringing that up? Why I can't, like, all of these other people said an Israeli official, right? All these other people said Israeli official. That sounds so much better. At least you were tricked into some sort of, like, stupid thought process that this guy was an Israeli official. But he actually admits it was the digital media person. He's actually saying that. He actually says it with his own mouth. The words came out of his mouth. He said it. He said the words. He knows. He's not tricked into something stupid. He actually knows it's the freaking YouTuber, dude. What the hell? Why? What is wrong with these people, dude?
It's got to fit the game.
Guys, did we shit on Hasan today or what? Am I the only one? Because I was in chat earlier.
We
did.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, we watched it at the beginning of the stream.
My stream did.
Holy shit.
My
so
head almost
fucking
exploded
annoyed.
from how pissed off I was. Like, I was so mad, dude.
Really?
I can't believe he said he's a self-professed propagandist and there were people still defending him. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
Wait, okay, hold on. Wait, okay, so this is something that I brought up at the beginning, is that, like, a propagandist doesn't mean that you're, like, lying or spreading misinformation. It just means that you're, like, speaking on behalf of one side. Like, you have, like, a very biased message. And that you're, like, trying to convince people of that message. So, like, you're a rhetorician for a specific side. And even rhetoric a lot of times comes off as though you're not telling the truth. A lot of people think, like, if you say, like, oh, well, they're using this type of rhetoric, that it sounds like you're spreading misinformation, but you're not necessarily. Like, rhetoric is just convincing language. So with propagandists, yes, he's just trying to be convincing for his own side. The problem is that obviously people do think that it's a negative connotation. They do think that it means that you're lying. So it's not a smart thing to say about yourself, even if you're, like, right by some sort of technical definition. It's still bad communication. But the thing that pissed me off the most is over and over, and it's not just him, this has been pissing me off all week, and to listen to him sit there after, like, a 3 days of this and him still say the same stupid thing. The initial information about the bomb, or about the missile hitting the hospital, the reason people started saying that was Israel, and they keep saying an Israel official said that they took responsibility for that missile is because a YouTuber, somebody who runs the YouTube channel for Netanyahu, said that Israel did it. And then he took it down. But he's not an official. He has no authority whatsoever. He runs the freaking YouTube channel. And that is the only place that this is coming from, is just that one YouTuber. And Hasan, even like my frustration throughout this is that people keep calling him an official, not knowing that he's just the YouTube guy. That's it. He just runs the YouTube channel. But Hasan literally says he's the head of their digital team, and he's the guy who admitted that Israel did it. I'm like, what? Why are you
like a
why do you
nobody.
think that's credible? Why would you even repeat this? Like, why do you think that's a good idea, dude?
Yeah. And like aside from the fact that he's not using any credible sources and he's just spitting fucking untruths basically, or just we don't know, is that he slanders media constantly in his streams for being propagandists in the negative connotative way. So how can you use that against the people? That's a lot of his rhetoric is slamming media, mainstream media and all these big corporations and like down with capitalism, all that crap. And then in the next sentence say, oh yeah, I am one too. And he knows what he's doing. He is using the negative connotation for them,
same with
but
the
for him,
stenographer
he
thing.
changes it. Yeah.
Same with the stenographer.
Yeah.
By the way, the UN condemned this, so they seem to think that's what happened.
Wait, what?
Okay, NineTails, I hate when you bring this fucking UN shit up. Nobody gives a fuck what the UN says. It's totally fucking pointless.
No,
it actually is.
The UN is like a fairly credible source. They do investigations into things. They're a good third party source.
Yeah, but like
I
when you look
don't
at
know.
the
Hold on,
vote.
wait. Hold on. I don't even know. You said the UN condemned this. Condemned what?
Yeah.
The hospital strikes.
Yeah, I would assume they would condemn. Oh, wait, hold on. We're talking about a very specific hospital strike that's argued over. We're talking about a very specific hospital strike from a jihadist group that is saying that Israel did it.
No, they're saying that Israel did it, and this is the UN.
Wait, you're saying that the UN said Israel did it?
Yes, in the first paragraph. I'm going to post it in this chat here.
I find this hard to believe, but from what I understand, there are absolutely zero third-party investigations outside of like the geolocator.
The strike reportedly followed 2 warnings issued by Israel that attack on the hospital was imminent. People inside weren't evacuated.
Yes, we are all aware that they did strike that hospital, just
So then
not.
it wouldn't be an errant bombing.
Just there, I said that Israel struck that Baptist hospital once before. This is something that was mentioned in my chat a couple of times, and I looked it up, and I thought I found the same thing, but now looking it up again, I did not find the same thing. I was confused between 2 different hospitals when all of this first happened. So throughout this video, I'm going to say a couple of times that Israel did strike this hospital, just not this time, not on Tuesday. I am incorrect. As far as I can find, Israel has not struck this hospital with a missile or a rocket at any point. Obviously, they've bombed other hospitals in the past, just not this one, as I argue. So just wanted to correct that real quick. Wait, but it wasn't that day. They didn't strike it that day.
Wait, that doesn't necessarily say Israel did it either. Let me read this properly.
They wouldn't be decrying it
I'm
as
not
a
getting
war
that.
crime. They wouldn't decry it as a war crime.
Wait, you're saying they wouldn't call it a war crime if a jihadist
Against
group
the
did it?
deadly strike at how do you say that?
Al-Ahim.
Al-Akhli.
Al-Akhli Hospital in Gaza City, which killed more than 470 civilians on Tuesday.
Yeah, but that doesn't say that Israel did it.
The strike reportedly followed 2 warnings issued by Israel.
Yes.
Yeah.
What were they warning them about?
They did strike it another time. There's another time that from what I understand, they did bomb that hospital, just not that day.
Well, this conversation is relevant because they're striking hospitals.
I hard agree with you, Astro.
Well, hold on. There's a very big difference between them saying, "Hey, you have X amount of time to evacuate and get out of this hospital
Hasan
before
is-
we send a bomb through it."
incredibly frustrating.
That they didn't give enough time.
Wait, no, that's different.
And
Again, that you're
I
talking
don't
about
understand
a different missile.
It's
how
not. The UN's calling it a war crime.
anyone takes them seriously.
Which is Hasan's point that they're war criminals.
It doesn't mean anything.
Well,
Them calling
yes,
it a
it does,
war
'cause
crime
that's
doesn't
Hasan's
mean
point.
Israel did it.
Well, yeah, the
NineTails,
strike
you know what
that
the
you're
issue
admitting that they
is, right?
did do, the strike that you're admitting that they did do would constitute a war crime, and that's Hasan's point, is that they're war criminals. If you want to say he's wrong on a
Hold
specific
on,
thing,
wait.
that's
But you can't.
immaterial.
You
That's just
can't. No,
immaterial.
no, it's not. You're bringing up. We're talking about a very specific bombing of the hospital that that killed 471 people. That a jihadist.
You realize
group-
you just inserted jihad very incorrectly.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, wait, can I?
A jihadist group shot off and it misfired and went into the hospital. From one analysis, there's another analysis
from the
that says
Israeli side, and then from
that
the
they
other
shot.
side,
No, there's not. I'm not talking about sides. I'm talking about like third-party investigations. So like, there's the geolocator. They talk about where the rockets fired off from, based on like the camera locations. They can actually tell the exact like areas that the fire is located from, or that they fired off from. But it's not like an exact science. So they have like a general relative
source, and
idea.
now you're saying that they have footage. Let's see that footage.
No, NineTails.
There-
Wait, I'm confused.
You haven't seen the footage of this?
Yeah.
The rocket being fired off.
Yeah, there you can see it firing off into the sky.
It's immaterial, right? Because this is sort of like saying lightning won't strike twice, when we know that like bombings from Israel do strike at least twice in most places.
Wait, I don't know
Gaza.
what that has to do with anything, and you're moving off the point as to whether or not there was
The
video of
likelihood that this is an errant bombing is much lower than this being just another Israeli airstrike.
That's actually not true. Have you looked at any of the information?
Yeah,
Well,
you
you
would
can't say
have
it's
to.
not true, but
it is not true. It is not true.
It's not.
So hold on. This is yes. This is the
context, and then
yes.
apply
So
likelihood to the next context.
yes. So this is yes. So this is what. No, it's not inductive thinking. So this is inductive thinking. Is that there? You can see rockets coming out of Gaza. You can see them going up into the sky, and then you see a hospital blow up. Inductive thinking would lead you to believe that it was those rockets that went into the hospital, not that it just so happened that while rockets are coming out of Gaza, that Israel just so happened to bomb a hospital at the same exact time. That would not be inductive thinking.
Okay, I think we've cut down the weeds on this. Do you see where I'm coming from, though? That like, even if this ends up being wrong, like, sure, Hasan's wrong. What an idiot. The fact that Israel does do war crimes against Palestine is there.
Well, we weren't talking about whether or not they do war crimes.
Well,
Yeah, no one's denying that.
Yeah, that's just Hasan's point. You can call him a propaganda.
Yes, but that's not the point. Yes, but that's not the point of everyone's frustration with the way that Hasan dealt with the information and projected basically like unknown in a certain way. He certainly screamed and yelled on a stream a number of times saying it was definitely Israel. This is evidence of their bullshit. And it actually turns out there isn't that kind of evidence, and it most probably won't be Israel. So that's the issue. What do you mean?
Like, if I was a broadcaster and I was concerned about getting the truth across, what I would say is, okay, Hasan, you seem to be misinformed on this. What's really known is that Israel has struck a hospital on Tuesday, which has been condemned by the UN as a war crime. But this most recent bombing is still undetermined.
No, dude, this is like saying if I say NineTails went over and raped Mantis horribly And then I say, and we know that like, trans people are more likely to rape people. Everybody knows this. But then afterwards you're like, wait, I didn't rape anybody, and trans people are not more likely to rape
Oh,
people. And
okay.
I go,
Yeah,
well,
right.
the only point is that I'm saying that you're trans. Like that's the
But
main
Israel
point.
is
Is
more
that I'm
likely
just
to
saying
bomb
you're
these
trans.
places. They keep doing it over and over again.
Okay, but that does
We can't say that that's errant because they have.
that doesn't make it okay
Definitely.
for one of the largest political streamers on their platform to go around just saying fucking things that they don't actually know to be true in a very certain way. That's the problem. Like, focus on that issue and don't just turn it
Yeah.
into like Israel bad.
But you're getting mad that he's wrong about a date and time when he's ultimately is correct.
Well, no, the specific thing that we were
No,
upset about
he's
is
not.
that he's wrong on the facts, or that he's like using. So he said that a YouTuber admitted that Israel did it as though the YouTuber was some sort of official voice for Israel. That's the
Okay.
part that we have an issue with. And that's why the rumors about Israel doing it all happened, is because the YouTuber said that Israel was taking responsibility for it, as though and they're acting as though he is Israel, speaking on
If
behalf of
anything,
to take responsibility for it.
I think it's funny. Like, not that he's cracking a joke. I just think it's funny because he's like, without realizing it, calling all of us out too. Because that's what we expect people to do in debates, right?
No, we use sources. We use reliable sources. He's a YouTuber too, and I expect him to use a reliable source over a YouTuber.
But do we only engage with people who use reliable sources? Not really, right?
It's not about
Yeah,
whether
but
or not
does
we
that make it
engage
a
with them. We call them out if they don't, though.
But
I'll
we
still
don't
engage
really
with
have
them.
standards. We perform these standards, but whether or not we actually hold them true, I mean, there's plenty of times where I
You
think
speak for
people could have
yourself on this one.
done their research better.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I think that they're bad at what they do. I think there's plenty of times where people just, they're like, for example, Hasan probably just didn't prep for this, and this was the most he had heard about it, got caught in a trap, and that was the most he could say without lying.
No, he's done hours longs of streams on this
Wait,
topic.
Tom, you're
Hours
somebody
and
who could
hours.
be, you're somebody who could have plausibly been in the same position. I've been in this position where I argue myself into a hole, and I just want to see if you can relate to this. And then, okay, yeah, I kind of did just say something that I saw in a YouTube video, and now I have to use that as a source, right?
That's
And
okay. This is a big problem. This is a serious problem.
well, no,
Like,
let me ask you something before you call it a problem. What's a bigger problem? Me lying and pretending like, I have better sources and stuff like that, which, to be fair, not sometimes that happens, people lose their sources or something like that, but is it worse to lie about it, or is it worse to just be like, fuck yeah, it's a YouTube video, and then, move on, because the broader point is that Israel is doing war crimes?
That is not the broader point. You can't
oh
just
my
take any random
god.
thing and then say the broader point is that Israel's doing war crimes. It's like if no matter what
That's
you
where
say,
he
I
was
say,
coming
well, the
from.
broader
I
point is
was
that
listening
Hamas
to
is
it too.
terrorists.
I was listening to it too, and that's where I heard him coming from.
No, but
Pretty
see,
sure that's
okay.
why they fell into
Again,
that.
blame them for a specific war crime that they didn't commit, just to say that they committed war crimes. That's ridiculous.
Well, if they committed it a few days earlier, then we can, it's literally an error of 48 hours.
A few days earlier without killing anybody versus
Oh,
killing
no.
471 people.
they-
I
That is
agree.
Hang on,
a
hang
massive
on,
difference.
hang
They
on.
did kill
It's shit.
471 people according to that article. Are you sure this didn't happen
N-
Tuesday?
He
No,
is full of
that
shit.
you're no,
His
I know
fans
it
are
is.
indeed
We're talking about the Tuesday
full of
one. The
poop.
Tuesday one killed
Yeah, so
400.
that's what the UN's article is
That was
about, and
not.
they claim it was
Yes.
Israel.
And, no,
And
they
You're
probably
probably
on
just behind
fire.
on the facts.
They should be on someone's board.
No, I'm not. They did not
Oh, you
claim
don't
that.
Okay,
trust the UN.
NineTails. You're
You don't
definitely
trust
wrong
the
here.
UN. You
And
think
no,
that
I
No,
trust
but
the
biased
UN. The
against
UN
Israel.
did not say that. I trust the UN. The UN did not say it was Israel.
Okay, I posted a link, but I'll post screenshots now. I'll make sure I highlight that part.
I get.
Well, I'm literally reading an article right now that says, amid the claim and counterclaim, getting to the truth is harder than ever. When it first happened, they were claiming it was a deliberate airstrike and Israel has denied involvement, blah, blah, blah. They're basically saying new information's emerging all the time. We'll continue to update because we don't fucking know.
When was it written?
Yeah, literally the title of the UN article that you posted says Gaza, UN experts decry bombing of hospitals and schools as crimes against humanity, call for prevention of genocide. It's not saying anywhere in here that that Israel did the one on Tuesday.
Yes, they do. They mention Israel in the second sentence of the first paragraph. So it's really only as hard as you want it to be.
I know they
if you're in
mention
denial, then
Israel.
I can
That doesn't
understand
mean
how
there's
it's not good enough for you.
no. You are being extremely bad faith right now. They mention Israel. They do not say
Not bad faith
Israel
to
did.
acknowledge history.
You are
No,
not.
but
see,
you're
even
acknowledging only
no,
one
hold
side.
on, NineTails. Even you just saying that is insanely bad faith. It's not bad faith to acknowledge history. Literally, nobody said that. We're not arguing over whether or not acknowledging history is a good or bad thing.
So
We're
it's
arguing
not
over
bad
whether or
faith
not
to
you're right.
produce facts, and that's what I'm doing.
You are not producing facts. You are misrepresenting
I
what
just
that
don't think you
article
want
says.
these facts to mean anything, even though they clearly do. You're substantiating
You are.
my claim that Israel does war crimes.
You have to be lying at this point. I don't know if you're trolling or just lying, but it does not say that Israel did the war crime in there.
I
It
don't
does
think
not.
cognitive dissonance is a good look on you, Tom.
Then read the part where it says that.
NineTails,
Let's hear it.
are you
Well,
just
okay,
trying to
so
like
I
piss
tried
people
twice,
off?
but no, Mantis, please. He asked me to do something, and I just want the space to do it finally because I've tried 2 times already. So, Geneva, 19th of October, 2023. UN experts with an asterisk, so we can get into that if you want. Today expressed outrage against the deadly strike at Al Akli Arab Hospital in Gaza City, which killed more than 470 civilians on Tuesday and trapped hundreds in the rubble. First sentence. Second sentence, key sentence. The strike reportedly followed 2 warnings issued by Israel. An attack on the hospital was imminent if people inside were not evacuated.
Doesn't say they did it.
It says
Yes, it does not say that.
reportedly came
That
after
an attack
2
on the
warnings.
hospital was imminent. An attack
Doesn't say
on
it
the
was them.
hospital
Yes.
was imminent.
Yes.
Yeah, so
It does not.
so this doesn't
Yes, they
line up with
well,
their
look,
claims that the missile was errant.
they released audio footage of the so Israel is not saying that.
I'm not
it's errant.
disputing the warnings claims because they still killed 470
Hold on.
people. So at the
Hold
end of the day, it
on.
doesn't matter.
There's confusion here. Israel is not saying that it was a malfunctioning rocket. That is what other analysis is saying. Israel is saying they have audio footage of them calling each other ahead of time and that they knew what was happening and that they shot it from behind the hospital, right at the hospital.
So you don't trust the YouTuber source. That source coming from Israel has been unverified by independent sources so far.
You said
And I have
unverified? What?
Yeah. Only
Yeah,
Israeli officials have
exactly.
claimed the how verifiable this is, and that means a lot coming from a state which has lied about things in the past.
Wait, yes, that's what I'm saying.
No.
I'm saying that I don't necessarily believe what Israel's saying. The YouTube source, I said that I definitely don't believe what the YouTube source. Hasan's the one who's claiming the YouTube source is correct. Not nobody else would do that.
I don't think the UN would have published anything saying the strike reportedly followed 2 warnings issued by Israel that an attack on the hospital was imminent.
Why not? That doesn't actually say who did it. And by the way, I'm looking at something right now. Hang on, I'm looking at something right now that says so far the findings are inconclusive. 3 experts the BBC spoke to. Hang on, listen. I'm not finished. 3 experts the BBC spoke to.
Answer, but you won't.
No, can you please let me? I've barely even gotten to manage to get a fucking word in because you keep interrupting.
Already, and you wouldn't answer my question. Then I asked you at the
3
end,
experts we spoke to say it is not consistent with what you would expect from a typical Israeli airstrike with a large munition. That's the issue here. It's not typical of their usual airstrikes.
So when was this written?
What's today? Well, I'm a day ahead of you guys. It's Friday night now, but this was written on the 19th of October 2023.
So the same time as the UN article. I am inclined to believe that the UN might be closer to insider sources that will be able
and
to
it didn't
confirm
say
these
anything. The UN article didn't say anything. It just said that right before this strike actually hit, there were some warnings. It doesn't say that it was actually them. It doesn't say there's any evidence of who did it.
Okay. The experts raised
what are you talking about?
Serious humanitarian legal concerns over Israel tightening its 17-year siege. So it seems like these concerns are directed at Israel.
But here's the problem, and this is the problem with the whole thing, and you're doing the exact same thing. you've clearly picked a side, and you're coming at things from a bias, and there's a problem with doing that as an outside foreigner,
only if
like
the article is as
especially a
biased as I
political
am.
commentator observing the information and then spewing it out to millions potentially of people. There's a problem going on right now with this kind of misinformation and this kind of bias superseding
if I critically
evidence.
think about
You're
this,
doing it now too.
like I said with the earlier thing, if I critically think about this and I think, well, would the UN, who typically leans, especially the Security Council, leans bias in favor of Israel, would they post something like that they're concerned about Israel, unless they had genuine verifiable concern? And to me, the answer seems less likely to be yes out of nowhere. and more
Verifiable
likely to be
concern
no.
is very different from the fact that they that says that they did it, which was your claim.
Astro, I don't
that
think you're muted
says
in
that they
chat.
did it, which is now changed to they
I see
have
your
some
shit.
sort of concern that they did it, which I also have a
No,
concern.
this is what I mean. That like they're talking about the strike that reportedly followed 2 warnings issued that an attack was imminent, and then goes
Yes, those
on
are just
to
facts. You're
continue.
just naming
Then goes
facts.
on to continue to point to Israel in relation to that strike. This is how
Hey,
you relate media from
everything
one
that I've
paragraph
read
to the
here,
next.
it doesn't do that.
We-
It's talking about the
Okay.
fact that there are humanitarian concerns
I
from
guess
what
it
it
can mean
is
whatever
that
you want to if you
both
want.
sides are doing, and that they want the World Health Organization to go in and help people. It goes over the different types of strikes that have happened, killing how many people in different places. None of this is referring back to that first paragraph or the second paragraph talking about the hospital. These are very different things now.
Except the part that actually did point back to it. The occupation needs to end, and there must be reparation, restitution, etc. Seems to be focused on Gazans as being the victims here, of course, because that's UN's for. I think that's why you're getting confused, is because it's mentioning Gaza, but it hasn't mentioned Hamas, so that I can see. It hasn't mentioned the group that reportedly launched the missile. So
Astro,
seems like
try
it's
switching your
condemnation for
chat.
Israel.
I don't know if
That's
you
in
have
the
it
Okay,
on
it does if you have a bias, but
top
I think
chat,
as well as all
but
this,
switch it to live
you
chat on
nine
top.
like it
I've
was
had
very
that problem
clear.
before, and it's usually the
It was very
issue.
clear. It was very
Okay,
clear.
top chat
It was
is
very
garbage.
clear. It was very clear as well that Hasan, and I guess you you simp for this dude because he's saying the same thing that you want to say to everybody, bias. But like he clearly also didn't. Do you think it's a war crime to go charging over the border and murdering civilians? Because like that's happened.
Okay, pick me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. That's not my response. Clearly. No, I
Yeah,
don't
we
want to see
know.
that happen either. I don't like. At best, and I've said this before.
You
If
Palestinians
Israel,
that.
if Israel were to, yeah, okay. I don't think you should do war crime for war crime.
Yeah, so but why are you only focusing on Israel being the only ones
not.
committing war crimes here? Yeah, you are.
I'm not. Well, because it came up in
you're
response
pretty
right here.
quiet
It says
about
it came up in response to Hasan. I don't only focus on that.
Yeah, but you're pretty quiet, and I've heard you talk about this topic a lot,
I
and
was
you're
pretty
very
quiet until
quiet
someone asked
about
me.
what happens in Gaza from their military resistance as opposed to Israel. You're very quick to side with Hamas.
Yeah, Hamas commits war crimes too.
Okay, well, so it's not necessarily Israel just coming in there for no reason.
Listen. Here's what you need to understand about me. I do not support Hamas. In fact, I am so against Hamas, I would support Israel with third-party support and approval of the evidence, like verification of the evidence, going in there and systematically removing them from power. That way they could provide the infrastructure for real elections while also bringing back the human needs of like non-radicalized Palestinians, such that they can rebuild trust. We can come back to the peace negotiation table with someone ruling the Gaza Strip who actually has the interest of the people of Palestine in mind, unlike Hamas, who only wants to escalate things, only wants to bring the end times. I'm disgusted by them. What saddens me is that they seem to be the best hope of being a freedom fighter there. And if there was some magical way that they could be more of a freedom fighter than a radical far right extremist group, then maybe my support would change. But beyond that, I
Yeah,
condemn them.
the point is that the article you're taking very vague gestures as though any of those are actually saying
Likewise.
that Israel did it. And no, I'm not. I'm saying that they're not saying that because I'm not going on vague gestures. I'm just going on what it actually says.
I'm confident with saying at this point Israel did it, and I'm pretty sure that's the way it's going to be talked about by the people who investigate it.
Well, I don't think you should be saying stuff like that when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay. Well, I do. I looked it up.
Well, you didn't, because you clearly didn't even know what we were
Okay.
talking about to begin with. It's like you've missed the
So
last 24
you
hours
also
of breaking
think
fucking
You
news.
also acted like it was unreasonable for me to say this has happened before and probably will happen again.
I think we both admitted that it's happened before. Neither one of
And
us
probably
Yeah, we
denied
will
that
happen
in
again.
any way.
And probably will happen again. Unlike an errant rocket hitting the most critical infrastructure of the people Israel is trying to remove the human rights of.
Sure.
Yeah,
That
it's kind of
it doesn't
it's not that easy to go charging in and take all your ground force
I'm just saying,
in when
the,
Hamas is
the
hiding behind
location
its
that this
civilians
rocket
and
wound up
taking
in.
refuge and weapons, munitions, stashes inside these hospitals, is it? It's not that easy. It's not as easy as you say it is
Yeah,
to
I
just
doubt that
go
that's
in there
actually
and
there.
make it all like target specifically Hamas people and make it
So-
just about that. Like you're like simplifying it down to
Where's
this.
your proof that there
like-
were weapon stashes there?
Okay.
Okay, that's your proof that there were weapon stashes there. Just to go.
I'll
Okay.
find it for you.
Oh.
I'll find it for
Okay.
you.
Well, you didn't make that clear. I don't know. I thought that was like a power move or something.
I just feel
It's gonna be
like
this
it
hospital,
sounds like
right?
you haven't been
It's gonna be
paying
this-
attention.
It's gonna be this hospital, right? 'Cause
Didn't it not even hit the hospital?
It did.
It hit
It
the
barely
parking
hit the
lot.
hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
No, 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 no.
174
No, there were
people.
two
How
blasts.
does something that
One hit
doesn't
the
hit
parking lot,
hospital?
and then the other one
Oh.
hit the hospital, but it didn't blow the hospital up. It just
Okay.
messed up the infrastructure.
Angles. I'd love, is there some sort of like, what do you call those like really elaborate mechanisms that like at the end of the day like do something really simple?
I know what you're talking about. Rube Goldberg machine.
Goldberg machine. God
Yeah.
damn, I hate how it's almost like we're like minds, but I hate you, so I don't want that.
Fuck you. No, you don't.
Shut up. So I think you're doing like a Rube Goldberg machine to imagine how it could not hit the hospital and 174 people can die. Like, can you explain this? Because I'm super interested right now. Like, I'm like an engineer. It's like, if you can make this work, I would give you money if I had it.
I don't know a whole lot about it. I just saw a couple reports that there was misinformation.
But how do you picture it? It's like what goes on in your head that you hear about how many deaths there were. I mentioned it several times.
I heard
and
that
you
that
also hear
was
it didn't strike them.
also blown out of proportion.
Oh, of course. Yeah, the
There was a
UN's known for
lot.
that.
Wait, what did you say?
The UN is known for blowing things out of proportion.
No, I heard it was blown out of proportion by Hamas. Saying it was like
Oh, okay.
500
UN is
people
also citing this
dead.
number.
Then it was 900.
The UN's also citing that number.
Wait, number for what?
The deaths.
How many people have died?
The 471?
170.
Yeah, that is the
Well,
number. That is an insanely
minus
high number, but
one.
it does seem to be what's verified
It's
currently.
insanely high for it not to have hit the hospital and that many people to have died.
It hit the hospital. It just didn't
And,
blow
like,
the hospital up.
Tom, if you're coming from the approach that like we're always going to have to deal with two sides giving misinformation, I 100% agree, right? But with that, the grain of salt we need to take is what do we know Israel tends to do in these situations, right? Like we got to learn from previous experiences at least before we start both siding things.
I don't think so. I think that we can just wait for
Oh.
third-party investigations. Why? I don't think we have to
Sure,
come
no,
to
that's an
conclusions one
approach
way or
too.
the other.
But then you can't tell people who are trying to get ahead of this before the other side lies, because they'll definitely talk about it regardless of what you think. For being wrong or not doing things the way you would.
Yes, I
Because I
can.
think
I
Hasan could have
100%
read this.
can. That's
Hasan could have read this
wrong.
easily. Hasan could have read this easily, taken the same conclusions, and then felt vindicated saying that. Now he mentioned YouTube. I'm not going to try to defend that. That is
He could have read
silly to
anything,
do,
but he didn't.
That's especially silly to do on Piers Morgan. Like he's not going to care, right? Like who? And none of his audience is going to care that you saw something on YouTube. So that was like in itself pretty like you know, seemed to lack self-awareness. But to say that like, oh, this is a failure that reflects him as a streamer overall, like, uh, like
Just to
he
be
had
clear,
a
it was a
pretty damn good
YouTuber,
debate with
but
Ethan
he didn't
Klein.
see it on YouTube. He was
He had a really good debate with Ethan Klein. I
it was
really enjoyed that debate.
it was a YouTube is it the guy who runs the YouTube for Netanyahu is the guy who tweeted it out. And so he tweeted out something saying that like Israel was like taking responsibility for the bombing and then deleted it right after. But that's the only source that said that Israel
I'd
took
take it.
responsibility for it. So then
I'd take it. It
people
lines up with trends, and it seems like somebody who would know tweeted it and they got told to take it down.
Yeah,
Good
so
enough for me.
earlier when we were talking about, like, where you're like, "Oh, we all sometimes, don't, like, have the best sources," like, this is where yeah, I
No, no, no,
completely
no.
separate from you guys. I have much
I
higher
do find it
standards in
rich.
taking something that is convenient for my narrative and say, "Well, then I'll take it."
No, like if this was like a more commonly applied standard in this space, then I think we would also have an audience where that actually means something. But
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I
I'm
don't know why
not
you keep
trying to
bringing
say
up
that the
that
audience
stuff
is
like what
stupid.
other people do. It doesn't
And I'm not
matter.
trying to say the audience is stupid, but the majority of this space is filled with people who only care about point scoring. That's all they listen to because they're only partially engaged, and the other half of them are gaming. That's just me acknowledging the climate that we're in, right? The political climate
Yeah, but
online when
we're
we're
trying to.
talking to Twitch viewers.
I agree
Yeah,
with
but
that, but
we're
I don't watch
trying
those people.
Yeah, we're trying to like people in the
So,
space are trying to
so
advocate for something better. They'd want to like elevate the standards, not keep them at some shitty low bar
I'm
level.
on board with that. I'm on board with that.
But you're
What I'm
Doesn't
trying to
sound
say
like
is
it.
like
It doesn't sound like you're with it at all. It sounds like you're happy with it just being shit.
I don't think Hasan's going for that. I don't think he wants to participate in genuine debate because
Yeah,
he
so
is
we
a
can criticize
propagandist.
him for that.
And I think he just wants to see a discussion of propaganda start. That way he can admit it, and then his audience can become like the seers of propaganda. Um, I would probably do something similar, especially on my Piers Morgan debate. So I'm not that critical of him on that part. When it comes to having good
Wow. I
sources and stuff
expected
like
better
that,
of you,
no,
NineTails.
I agree with you. I wouldn't want Hasan to be influencing the debate space directly. Like, I wouldn't want him on our panels and stuff like that if that's all he's going to do. You're right that we need to culture a better audience. And that's why I'm glad there's been a lot more discourse about this lately. Because I think a lot of panel hosts have become complacent to the idea that their audience just wants like a bunch of drama and shit. And without that being a sign of things changing for the worse because when I first joined here, there were plenty of people who loved having real debates, and there were plenty of audiences that loved it. And then there was a point, especially on the left, where people are like, "There's no way that we can have real discussions without just getting screamed over," and so they left. And we lost so many smart, articulate leftists who were willing to have debates within like after like the first year and a half that I started, and it was one of the most demotivating things that happened in my time here.
Okay, I'm
And I
hearing
Yeah,
pleaded
all of
with
we've
this.
them.
talked about
And
this. I highly disagree with that. Like the people that you
Well, I
mentioned that
pleaded
are
with them. I
supposedly
said,
those people are
I
people that
pleaded with
I
these
think are
people.
some of the worst.
Okay, you
yeah.
can say that. I pleaded with these people and I said to them, look, we do not want to let these space go to the people who are already narrating over us and give them an even easier time. I know it's stacked against us, but as leftists, that's when we should be our strongest. And I think that there is a bit of like lacking qualities within the space and a bit of like egotism as well that isn't compatible with leftism and often clashes and causes drama and issues. I
I mean, just
but
to be clear, when we're talking about speaking over people, like the leftist trans people, like LGBTQ people, like there's minority groups around here have such a disproportionate amount of representation.
yes and
That
no.
what do you mean?
Yes, there's probably proportionally like more trans people on like a debate base than there would be in real life. Okay, is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay, so where I disagree, and this goes back to intersectionality actually,
She's a
is
bookchin
that I don't
communalist,
think it's counterproductive
which
to
is
have a
even
panel
farther
where
left
there's
than the
more trans
farthest
people
possible left thing
than
you
cis
can
people.
get to. It is on the.
Well, I'm not saying it's counterproductive. I'm just saying
Oh, you
that
know
it's
what?
hard to
I'll
speak
just
over
show you.
people that are like.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think it's one way or the other. Yeah, I think
I do
like
have an,
I
I
think
do have
it's
a
great to
case.
have a lot of trans people on panels.
Yeah. I do have a case to make for why we should have more panels like that. Not to say that we exclude the other side of the discussion or anything, but if you really want to make it fair, because I try to explain this to Cankles, how a lot of the people who narrate for us are going for point scoring, and so it's a lot harder for us to actually give either our full experiences or the full science, whatever approach we prefer, without having to say more words than they do. And because the people who tend to be against us are, not listening all the time, it's really hard for us to get those point scoring opportunities in when there's like 5 other cis people on a 6-person panel point scoring louder than us. So all I'm saying is, as much like I'm not saying we need to handicap, but just that if centrists were really about making things equal, then they would consider how much of an uphill battle we have to speak over the convenient
Bookchin
narrative
communalism
that already exists
is
about us
all the way
with
down
more than
here.
just a convenient
These are all
narrative, because we don't have that luxury.
the non-realistic.
Okay, I'm confused why we're talking about this, like
Like, they're
how you
so
managed to
far
so seamlessly
that
turn
nobody
it away
believes
from the
that
point,
these
which
are
was
legit.
like you were
We were
doing a lot
They're
of
nutty.
defending,
we were talking about
Like
the type of
fully
audience we
automated
have, right?
space or fully
And
automated
well,
luxury
no,
space
we
gay
weren't. You
communism.
turned it into something else.
Post-sadism
You
is
turned it
about
into something else
nuking
to
the
avoid
world
the
and
actual.
restarting with a communist
Yeah, you
that.
turned it into
society.
something else to avoid.
Hive mind collectivism is when literally
then I
everyone
decided
is
to
wasn't
a
bringing
fucking hive
really
mind. I think it's pretty clear.
representation. You were saying
Gregorocracy,
that
people get
that like
murdered
leftists and
for the
people
throne.
are being spoken over, and I
Genghis
was
Khanism,
saying that like it's
Fordism.
hard to speak over people like this when they are so disproportionately represented. It's hard to say.
This is like
that
this is like
broken over.
Darwinism, but like everybody kills everybody kills the weak,
Leftists aren't.
and they are.
Did you say they are or aren't?
They're
are not
encouraged
and I mean
to
that
kill
in the
weak
sense
people
that it seems like we're
because strong people are the only ones that belong in
maybe
society.
1 to
That's
20, 1 to
abolitionism.
30 in most Discord
Your
servers.
egoism
like
is just do whatever you
actual
want.
leftists who don't just
Whatever your
who
ego
aren't just, like,
desires,
dead
do
socks
it.
who build the leftist red tube niche or whatever, right? Because I'm not
Yeah,
on
I'm
board
talking
with
about people
saying
like
kinda
Vosh,
like
Yeah,
Destiny's
bookchin
Hasan,
communalism is as far
ContraPoints.
But
left
you're
as you
also
can go.
criticizing them
A little bit
for
libertarian,
the
but
attributes that make them not
it's
good enough, right? So it's kind of like saying,
wild.
like, if you can agree that your criticism applied to more faux leftists who don't actually make our standard for, like, have you read this theory? How much do you apply this? What kind of lens do you view issues through? And do you articulate leftist issues and voices properly, right? The reason I believe we need standards is because leftism is not an easy task. And I think it should involve self-sacrifice because egotism isn't compatible. And that means that part of that is upholding ourselves to these standards. So that's why when I do research and stuff like that, I'm trying to practice what I preach. And I do apply that to other leftists. So when it comes, like, how many leftists would you say you've encountered who, like, if we're talking about trans issues, will actually bring up something like this, the intersectionality analysis, in the way that I have? It sounds like this might even be the first time. Is that fair?
Maybe I do feel like we are a little bit far off from.
Yeah, you're
what we were
definitely
talking
just
about.
like
Intersectionality
you've
is not
you've
far
managed
off
to
from
like
trans.
take this whole thing. You've managed to take this whole thing away from what we were initially talking about, which was like
Right.
some of the rhetoric needs to
But here's
we
one
need
of
to
the
elevate it, make it better. And hang on, I'm not done.
Yeah, I am
You were
elevating the
talking.
rhetoric.
No, but here's the thing though, NineTails, you spent such a long time saying, fuck, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. You dismissed and invalidated something that was clearly happening. That's hang on, NineTails, I'm not finished. You just spent so fucking long talking. Stop. Stop,
Well,
please.
you're getting mad that it doesn't matter.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop,
I
please.
didn't know you wanted me to respond to that directly, and I have an easy response.
You were just
No,
talking
I'm
about
not
leftists
done.
being talked over, and now you're the
Right,
leftist
I'm
talking
just
over
Yeah.
people.
3-second response, and then she can continue.
NineTails, no, I don't want to hear your response. We just heard you talking for so long. Please stop. Let me address a point with you because I'm noticing something.
Sure.
Right before the topic, you managed to like slowly change it into something else. The point was some people in this space and leftists, whatever, who have big platforms should be held to account and should be held like have more responsibility in the way that they communicate with their audience. And you then said it's fine that someone is a propagandist and it's self-professed and is just going to do that and that's just what that audience wants, and that you totally dismissed that. And then you somehow managed to say, actually, you do want to elevate conversation and you do want to see things improve and you're trying really hard to like make that happen. Right after you literally contradicted yourself, and now you're just fucking weaseling your way out of a point that you made beforehand by saying, nah, fuck, who cares?
Sure.
You are,
I
100%.
contradicted myself. So on one hand, what I meant when I was saying that you guys, like, I don't care about your guys' lamenting, is that I don't think you're applying leftist standards to this. So, you know,
Definitely.
your reasons for discounting.
It's not about left or right. It's not about left or right. It's not about
I'm a
left or
leftist,
right.
so it is
Leave
for
it
me.
out. Well, it
Right,
always is for
so-
you. You always turn it into this fucking left infighting blah, blah, blah thing.
Sure.
It should just
So I
be
just
anyone
find-
with
I
a
found
big
it to be
platform
weak
who's
sauce.
talking about breaking news should probably find credible sources before they start lying to their audience to push a narrative
him do
that
that
fits
plenty
their
of times.
bias.
I've seen him do that plenty of times, so you're acting like he never does.
But in this case, you've seen it and you thought it was cool that he did it on Piers Morgan,
No.
right?
I didn't say it was cool.
You just said that.
What I said is I think
You
it's
said it's fine.
ridiculous. What I said is I think it's ridiculous that you expect anything else from somebody who you claim to be sick of doing this. So
And I think it's ridiculous that
Premonition.
people like you constantly want other people to just lower their expectations. When actually, I think my expectations and a lot of other people's expectations are perfectly reasonable and valid. And instead of telling everyone to lower them and just expect shit from shitheads, you should maybe expect a little bit more from someone with an audience that large.
if you're gonna, what I'm saying is if you're going to hold standards to him, hold them to him as a leftist and or what I'm about to get into the second part because I haven't had a chance yet.
I don't
Why
want
is it
leftist.
leftist?
It's not about
It doesn't
leftist.
fucking
Yeah, I
matter.
don't know why
If we
you
were
keep
holding
bringing
It
up
doesn't
leftist.
matter.
It's just people in general, not just leftists.
We wouldn't
Leftists
hold them to any
seems to be
standard
extra worse about
I agree
like
to holding
bad
people with bigger audiences accountable for how they affect the debate space. I just didn't feel but I didn't feel like that coupled cleanly with the points you were making. In that, like, he's like this would be true if he was on Twitch and doing like, I don't know, the Crucible or whatever the biggest panel is now.
I don't think we're talking about the debate space. We're
What is
talking
that
about
got-
audiences.
Right,
We're,
right. But this like since this is the debate specific, I would also say you have to be more involved with our debate space for our laments to have to apply to him.
No,
I don't
not
think
at
you do.
all.
Absolutely
This is
not.
everywhere.
Absolutely.
Not even a little bit.
Let me finish. If you want to criticize him as a leftist, then yes,
No.
the standards
I don't give a fuck about him being a leftist.
Oh my god. NineTails, stop.
Apply.
If we were doing that, we wouldn't hold him to any
No,
standard at
You're
all.
doing the thing. You're absolutely missing the point. No, NineTails, please. You're missing the point. You just take away left or right. Just think about the person as a streamer who has a large audience and particularly political audience, right? Forget about left, forget about right. Why are you changing it to Twitch and why are you changing it to left? What you're doing is you're trying to weasel out of the point.
No, it's not a
Focus on the point.
I could do it without left.
I agree, Bill.
Right, because the one point was.
Well, you've got a few people in here who are going to hold you to that.
So, if you want me to take it left or right, the more larger of an audience a streamer has, and the more that they participate in debate poll, the more I think they should be held accountable for how they influence the type of audience we have to deal with.
What did I miss?
Why do you keep doing that?
That
Why do you
doesn't
add
make
so
any
many
sense.
caveats?
You
This
did
is
it
just
again.
in general.
Because
This is
that's the standard I
everybody.
have.
These are people
we-
in general.
Can we
This isn't
sum up
like
what I just
this is
missed?
just about like spreading misinformation overall.
Sure, but mind you, like I said, this falls apart the less that Hasan actually participates in debate polls.
Why?
No, it doesn't.
Hold
No,
on.
it
Why do you keep
doesn't.
saying that? It has nothing to do with debate poll. It has nothing. We're talking about people everywhere in general. Some random on Facebook spreads misinformation. Facebook's going to take it down. They're not going to go ask them, well, do you engage in debate poll?
If you spend time on Facebook, I would agree with you, but like you can't really speak for what's going on Facebook right now.
NineTails, you're so wrong in this situation, and I'm
Big
going to
time.
explain to you why, and I'm going to try and do it as fast as possible so that you don't interrupt me.
You're
Stop.
wrong because leftist.
No, 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 no,
This would change my opinion. This would change my
Mute
opinion.
this bitch. Seriously.
Okay, fine. I was gonna tell you what would change my mind.
I'm not gonna. No, don't tell me what's gonna change your mind. I'm not here to like appease you and say the things that you want me to say. I'm gonna say it straight up.
Whatever.
No. Good faith is me coming from it. Like I am genuine. This genuinely matters to me clearly.
Okay, just say the thing,
Hey,
man.
NineTails. Okay, so it has like you don't have to be in the debate sphere. This is purely like same with journalistic integrity. When you have a platform in general and you're reaching that number of people commenting on this sort of stuff, you should use credible sources and you should maybe hold back before you preach about something that you don't know the full information about. Can we agree that that's a good way to be?
Sure, if Hasan did journalism, then I would definitely agree with the journalistic integrity part.
Okay, here's where you're getting. Here's where you're removing. Okay, so he's not a journalist technically, and he's not in the debate sphere technically. Therefore, it doesn't matter.
It just matters less the more he's removed from it.
No.
I don't think it matters less when you have an audience.
Journalistic standards is because of the audience. It's because of the amount of people that are going to hear him. And when he has millions of people who are going to hear him consistently, those standards would still apply.
I would agree if you said like rhetorical standards, but not journalistic. No, like none of us have journalistic standards around here, so none of us can preach that.
Yeah, but people still have big influences because
like Tom.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say you don't try to make sure your sources are reputable, all of that stuff, but you're not doing reporting, right? You're not doing investigative journalism.
I'm not doing investigations, no, but I am
You're
going
doing
and
literature
yeah.
reviews. You're doing literature reviews, which is
does it
fine.
matter?
It's
Does
a
it matter?
no.
It
Literature
matters in
reviews
in terms of making the distinction between rhetoric and well-substantiated rhetoric versus journalism.
bullcrap because like Ben Shapiro isn't doing investigations.
I feel like
either,
I'm
but
more
I
likely to have journalistic integrity than you are then. Because I can make the distinction, so I'm just way more likely to actually have journalistic integrity without even trying.
That literally makes no sense.
I feel like I need to be that guy.
If you can't make the distinction between journalism and rhetoric, if you can't make the distinction between how
the distinction.
Hasan is a rhetorician and not a journalist.
That sounds like cunt.
I understand that.
So let's talk about ethical rhetoric then, not ethical journalism.
You're just making excuses.
No.
It's a cop out. What you're doing is an absolute cop out, and what you're doing is not going to actually help people like talk about these sort of things in a more fair and balanced way. So if you want your leftoids, if you want these leftoids to keep like making your side of the fucking aisle, keep dragging them down and making people not take what you say seriously, then keep doing what you're doing. That's what you're going to end up doing. That's the logical conclusion to this kind of shit that you're speaking.
Hasan is a journalist, actually.
According to who?
Oh,
according to his fucking background. Yeah, whatever.
Wasn't he from YTY, Young
TYT, yes.
TYT, yeah.
He is a broadcast journalist.
Yeah, he could.
I think on top of that,
we can agree that he never actually did journalism while he was there.
Doesn't matter. Oh, time out.
He has previously worked as a broadcast journalist.
Yes. So
this
he
is actually really.
Yeah, he went to some mega rallies to trigger red hats.
It doesn't matter. You just said if you want to
this is funny. I think that this is funny. I think that this is funny that you're like, oh, you stand Hasan and stuff like that. I've seen all of Hasan's career from TYT to here because I watched TYT at the time where he started. But that doesn't mean that I stand him. I don't think highly of him as like in the terms of in the realm of journalism. I don't think highly of him in the realm of leftism.
Standing poor.
I don't think high of him in the realm of leftism. My point being, I actually do have standards for the guy, and I've been very clear about what they are. I'm not coping. I'm being super clear and consistent if you actually think about it.
No,
Okay,
your
so then
standards
what?
for the
Wait,
guy
but
are a
how would
lot
rhetorical
lower.
standards differentiate if you don't actually care about the truth? Like, what is it? Just make us look good?
No,
Make us sound
rhetoricians
good?
care about the truth, but they care about how the truth is packaged, right? So Hasan does care about the truth. I've seen him in his stream try to research things or fact check things before he uses them in debate. I just think that wasn't an ideal time for him, so he didn't. Fair enough. So the fact that he got something cornered and got something wrong, all bad rhetoric. I'll agree. But it's more like losing the boxing match rather than losing because you fucking like kick someone in the nuts.
But
Does
he
that make
does this
sense?
consistently. You realize he does this consistently. This is
Does
one
what?
really good
Fall into
example.
traps? Fall
No,
into
this
traps?
he picks
He
a
loves it,
side,
yeah.
and he's has bias, and he cherry picks the information. He cherry picks. And he lies.
Okay.
We know
I
that
don't think
now.
you have confirmation that he cherry picks or that he was lying.
If you don't
You're
think
trying
Hasan
really
cherry
hard to
picked, you're
stretch, and if
actually
you don't think
deluded.
sure, and if you don't think that you're
He's a fan of
stretching all
Hasan.
of this into cherry picking is proof of your
He's a fan
bias,
of Hasan.
then good luck.
NineTails is a
Do I
fan of
stand?
Hasan.
I don't know. I
No.
don't know why you want to always die on these fucking weird hills, NineTails, but like it's actually it like kills me inside to hear you spit this crap.
But like I
Honestly,
said, it'd be easier for
I'm
me to
good.
die on this hill if you were actually right and this was just cope, because then I could just let it go. But instead, I'm being consistent because I'm being honest about
Yeah.
how I feel about
when you
Hasan,
say you
and you're
can just
trying
let
to
it go,
pick it
it's not.
apart,
It doesn't
even
mean
though there's
anything.
nothing to pick apart. You're
It
trying to
doesn't
pick it
mean
apart,
anything.
even.
It
Okay,
doesn't mean
what
anything
doesn't?
when you keep saying you just don't really care that much. It's obvious you don't really care that much to everybody in this fucking call right now. But that doesn't
Yeah.
actually mean anything about what we're talking about. It just means that you like could give or
Because I
take, and it
find
means
it funny
everything you
when you
say
say
it lacks
something like
credibility.
journalistic integrity, and he's not doing journalism at the moment. He's doing a debate on Piers Morgan. He's a
It
rhetorician.
He
doesn't
is doing.
matter. The same standards apply.
No, he's not using
standards are.
journalism there. He's using
It doesn't
rhetoric.
Bro, y'all gonna beat a
matter.
dead
The
horse. Y'all do
standards.
realize that, right?
The standards we're
Yeah, this
talking about
really is.
aren't
Media
investigative
is
standards.
hard if you haven't watched the first year university course on it, I guess.
We are not talking
No,
about
NineTails, I hate
investigative
when you
standards. We're
flex
talking
like
about
this.
reporting information.
I
That's
honestly
what
I
we're
found
talking about.
first year media to be like super easy, but I guess for some
Yeah, it
people
is.
it's just too much to ask.
No, why do you do this?
Mhm.
Why do you do this,
Don't know.
NineTails?
This
Well,
is
because we're
Really?
random.
talking about standards. I actually held myself to standards and at least have educated myself on what the basics are because I wanted to make sure that I could navigate this field better. And now that I have, it is
You
definitely
navigate this
helped me
field
for the past
extremely
year.
poorly, NineTails. You navigate this field poorly. I'm going to say it for
No,
everybody.
I've
Like,
gotten
for
the
everyone
exact
who fucking
results I've
agrees with me, at
expected.
least.
I've gotten the exact results I've expected, mostly because they're predictable, but also because I never really was trying. I've never wanted to be professional because it's too much pressure and I don't want a large audience.
That's clear.
It's clear, yeah. I mean, like, I don't
I
think
will
what anyone.
literally find excuses to weed out people in my audience who may disagree with me even slightly, because for me, attrition is
audience.
attrition is the best way to bring together like mind.
That's just purity testing though. Why are you putting your own community against each other for your arbitrary standards?
Oh no, they don't argue within each other. If I saw that happen, I'd be like,
But
okay,
that's
this
what you
person's
create.
wrong. I'll stop fighting.
That's the environment that you
I don't have
create
any
by
control over my
creating an
community.
environment
Okay,
that.
look,
Do you
here's
influence people
I'm
by
not
the way
creating
you
any
act?
environment. That's what's funny though. As soon as
Okay,
they're
by
in my
nature of
community,
it
I let
being
go.
your community, by nature of it being your community, do you think you influence the way other people in your community act?
No, because I don't even really think about it that much. I like people either follow me on Twitter to see when I'm gonna post media, which is like never, unfortunately, or they don't.
You don't think of it very much, but you but you just
Got a lot
admitted
of
to
thoughts on it. Yeah,
doing,
got a lot of
you just
thoughts.
admitted to basically making a
I've been
gauntlet.
doing it for 3
For
years, so I mean, I have lots of thoughts,
you
but
don't
it's
think of
not
it.
something I
You don't
spend a
think
lot
about
of
it very
time.
much, but there's a gauntlet for your followers to
Yeah.
go through, just in case, just so they meet your journalistic standards.
Well, you see, okay, Neve, there was a time, where I had a lot of followers from a particular person who gave me a lot of praise and really boosted me up with my first 300 or 400 followers, right? Well, it turns out that the people in that community had differing views than I did on how discourse should happen and stuff like that. And I realized at that point, I can't please everybody. That's just the nature of the space. You're always running into different people with different minds. And even if you do your best and you're like, wear your heart on your
Yeah,
sleeve
but
and
if
try to
you
make
under
everything.
when did you come that perspective though? When did you come to that perspective though?
After I lost about
3 years ago, 2 years ago?
25%.
I don't
3 years
2
ago.
years
3
ago?
years ago.
Okay,
3 years
so
ago.
okay, so with that being said, so why don't you use that standards then and now and be like, okay, well let me stop. Like if other people's not agreeing with you, because this has been going on for like a minute, like you know what? Let me just turn the page on it and move on.
No, I have. I'm just telling you how
No.
this started. I'm telling you how this started and how the gauntlet. I started to see
All right,
not
because
worrying about what
somebody
my
right now got
audience.
to yeah, because somebody right
Okay,
now got feel
let me
like got to be a
rephrase
big
this
guy.
because I think I'm confusing you, and the gauntlet thing has really gotten people thinking of something that like works actively.
No, I
No,
don't
this
care
is a
about the
very
gauntlet. I'm talking about the whole conversation overall when I came in. Like
Well,
somebody
if
got to
this is
learn.
something you have to dispel, it would almost be like it
yeah.
accurately
I can dispel
reflects
it
the things
easily.
that you're
It's not like an
saying,
active
though.
thing I'm
Like,
doing. It's not like an active thing I'm doing, right? I'm just making sure that all my points are very verbose and clear. I am approachable, that people can always tell me if they think I'm wrong, but ultimately that anyone who disagrees with me and still follows me at least has to know about it. And if they can't handle that, then they can unfollow me, and that makes me a
I kind
happier
of
person
agree.
because now
It's
the
like
people who do at least still
reading a lot
follow
of
me
these like
aren't going to complain over a single thing they disagree
Marxist
with.
and like Bookchin
that's
stuff.
gay.
Like these books that
Okay,
are
Damn.
I think it's clever,
they
but
have a lot
whatever.
of
I just think at the end
high
at the end
Actually,
of the
intellects
day,
you
I'm
know
and
gonna pull
what?
a
My
whatever.
food
A side
flops
just
here.
came
I'm gonna
out,
pull a
and then
food
like
flops
it's like
here. I
super
just started
And
catchy.
weird stuff
talking
like
and then
that.
NineTails
And you
keeps
like
talking.
kind of
Well,
It's
I
so
wanted to
annoying.
you
be.
think you get it.
You're like a
Oh my
pretty mini
god.
funny.
You're like I'm above everyone
Oh my
else.
Stop,
And
So
like
much in
please.
common.
Manta.
So much in
Keep
it's
I can be
common.
talking.
whinier. I can be whinier
Okay.
than
it's like my
you.
vocabulary is actually way
Yeah.
better now.
I
I
just
feel I'm smarter than everyone.
Yeah.
well, to be honest, I have to leave this call, otherwise I'm gonna lose it at you, NineTails, because I
No,
just
it's okay.
like
No, I can
like
calm
no,
down.
hang on, I'm not done. Shut
I
up.
don't want you to have to leave. I'm
Shut up.
trying,
Shut up. Shut up.
Mantis. I don't want to make you
Shut
leave.
up.
So I'm
Please,
just
please,
telling
please,
you.
please. I don't care what you have to tell me because I'm in the middle of a sentence. Please stop talking. Please, dear
Maybe
God.
if you
And I don't
listen
even
to what
believe
I
in
was
that
saying
guy.
for half a. It was just
Okay,
quick. Please
Cankle,
don't
for
leave.
fuck's sake, mute her. Honestly, like,
All right.
yeah.
Fine.
God, this is where it always ends up. NineTails, I see what you're doing here. You care, and then you don't care, and then you care, and then you don't care. And I just, like, everything you say, I just can't take seriously now. And if that's what you wanted to achieve, then congratulations, you've done it. I would hold certain streamers, particularly the largest ones in the political sphere, commentating on political things happening to a higher standard. And if you think they need a journalism degree in order to have that standard, then we're all fucked, aren't we?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you needed to mute me there because particularly the lie about me caring, then not caring, then caring, to, narrate over me saying that I've been consistent is really fucking funny because I think I've given a pretty good benchmark for when I start applying standards to people or gradually start to increase those standards. And when I start to decrease those standards because I find that they're removed from that issue.
I think when people say that this is the way things are going and that they're telling the truth and that you should believe this kind of side, then you should probably give them full information. You shouldn't just be cherry picking information and then trying to tell people what to think and what
I'm
to
not
believe.
cherry picking information. I have
I'm not talking about
sliding
you.
scales for my.
I'm talking about the point of this whole conversation where it began because you keep on
I
taking
don't
us
think
down
you've
this little
demonstrated he's
yellow
cherry picked
road.
information.
Nowhere.
I don't think you've demonstrated he's cherry picked information. You're mad that he is pushing back on stuff about Israel, but that's because probably a lot of the discourse is saturated with stuff about Palestine.
Well, no, it is. He has to cherry pick information because most of the analysis comes to the conclusion that the rockets were shot from Gaza, and then the little bit that he's taking are from very bad sources, like a freaking YouTuber, right?
Well, we don't know if that YouTuber could have been what if it was Al Jazeera?
Okay, come up with a
Al
million
Jazeera's not a YouTuber.
cope.
Okay, you can say that. To say that there are no trustworthy YouTubers is also a stretch that is unrealistic.
That's not what we're saying. We're saying that this is a guy who just runs the YouTube channel. Like he's at the head of the YouTube channel.
Okay. Cool. And again, if he was a journalist, more than he was a rhetorician, then fine. But he's more of a rhetorician than a journalist.
So
And
when
when
you
it
keep saying that you've been
and to be
consistent,
honest, any
that
rhetorician cherry
throws
picks.
off all
That's how it
consistency.
works.
I can't just say like I've been super consistent on what I'm saying. Also, everything that I said before is different now because I farted one
You
time.
seem to
Like,
you
it
seem
doesn't
to
actually make
understand
sense.
that it works as a sliding scale, right? So if Hasan was a debate bro and debateful, and if he was like a journalist doing journalism today still and doing journalism most of the days of his career, then I would say yes, apply those standards 100%. But he seems to be occupying the niche of left-wing rhetorician. He's a point scorer, yeah. Does that hurt the discourse overall? Maybe a bit, but
Okay,
not as
I think it's wrong to hold this sort of standard. Like again, somebody like Ben Shapiro, who's not an investigative journalist, he should be held to high standards just because he has a big audience, and that alone. Like just the fact that he is informing people and we know people get their information from him is enough for us to say that we need to hold Ben Shapiro accountable when he's getting stuff wrong or just making stuff up.
Right, I'm against misinformation, but I'm like cherry picking and misinformation are two different
Okay, but do
things.
you
Let's
at
be
that point
clear.
right there? At that point right there, do you agree or disagree with what he just said?
Yes, no, and that's why I was saying
Wait, but
I
it's
disagree. We
both.
have to get rid of misinformation. But you're going to
Okay.
say that you're also going to
Hold
stop
on.
Ben Shapiro from cherry picking every time?
No, hold on. It's both. So
I'm gonna
cherry
say Ben
picking
Shapiro
can be
sucks.
misinformation. So if I state something,
They're not
though it
equivocal.
comes, if I state something as though it comes from a credible source, right? So today I tell you that George Bush shot his wife in the head. And you guys are like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, yeah, my brother told me. Am I lying? Well, I mean, I got it from my brother, but I'm stating
No,
it as
that's
though I got
cherry
it from a
picking
credible source.
misinformation. But you haven't
Yes, that's what
demonstrated
I'm
that what
saying.
Hasan said
Yes.
was misinformation.
Wait. We're not saying that in and of, I'm not saying that in and of
Right, so
itself.
for that to
it's
qualify, it would have to be
misinformation.
both.
I'm not saying that in and of itself it's misinformation. I'm saying that he is he's cherry picking evidence that is not substantial evidence. This is not good evidence. Like to
feel
say
you.
that a
UN5 is
YouTuber said
substantial.
something
I
is
feel
not
you.
good evidence.
I like
chat
to
sucks
anybody who
ass. It really
examines
does. It's
the legacy of
fucking
Israel
garbage.
and their attacks on Palestine. It would be almost like kind of brain dead to not it would be clueless to expect not to, see this as a pattern that's just going to continue and is more likely to continue than not. And
That's not
So
relevant.
let's just be okay with it.
but you can say that
can't
that's
beat 'em,
unfair
join
to
'em.
you, but that's just a difference of opinion.
Damn that! I'm hearing Pearl's logic now. Let's not do that now. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
So then what are the forces at play that you think that, bombing by hospitals bombed, Israel denies it, then turns out it's Israel. How many times does that happen before like we're guaranteed? Because I realize that like there's always a chance of it not happening, but before that's guaranteed to happen, because it seems like they were warning about imminent airstrikes as if those were going to happen, and it seems like an airstrike happened. So I'm just asking where the dots disconnect for you.
You're saying that you think something is going
I'm saying
to
the dots
happen.
connect.
Yes, you're saying something's going to happen because it's happened in the past, and that
No, that's reduction. I don't want you to make a straw man. I don't think you're trying to. So can I
Okay.
just steer things?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm saying that we have to identify some way that the pattern has broken before we can say that it's left that this outcome is more probable.
Wait, but that's not the same thing. Like I can point out a gangster and say this gangster shoots people all the time, therefore he shot this very specific person. That doesn't make sense. That's not the same thing. Black people commit crimes all the time, therefore this specific black
In a
person
vacuum,
committed this
yes.
specific crime.
I'd agree with you in a vacuum, but like when there's also the UN saying,
Jesus Christ.
when there's also, yeah, no doubt, when there's also an airstrike being warned about and then happening, confirmed by the UN, I'm willing to extend that further. It seems likely that this is just the case.
Can I add something? Can I add something real quick? Yeah, I got to, man. This is for my black people out there. We just had a white man bring us down just one more. All
Oh,
right, go ahead.
brother, here we go.
He's trolling. He's trolling.
Here we go.
What the fuck?
Great,
But
you're
it
an
is the
asshole.
same. It is the same thing. It is the same.
Like
as
I
somebody
represent,
saying,
man.
like,
I represent.
Black people commit crimes all the time. Therefore, we can just go ahead and say it's likely that this specific
Why
black
does it
person
need to
committed
come?
this
No,
very
I agree with
specific
Gray
crime.
Pill here. Like the fact that like we default to that so easily is kind of cringe.
Because it's a common fallacy that we all agree on. We all agree that it's wrong to do that. So I would assume that if you agree it's wrong to do that, you understand that it's wrong to do this.
I guess black people are pretty fallacious.
No, black people don't do that. I'm saying
I
racist
know,
people
holy
do
fuck.
this. You are doing the racist thing.
I was trying to get Gray Pill to laugh with that one.
Nah, I saw the gaslighting there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gaslight. Got me. Okay, I've been outed, so I'm gonna run away before people can call me out further.
All right, cool. I do appreciate
Can we
the
talk about you when
pettiness,
you
though.
leave?
I did see it.
Can we talk about you when you
My
leave?
server, I give
I'm
permission.
afraid of you, Mantis. I'm
It's
too
my
afraid of
server.
you.
I give full permission. NineTails is a fucking bitch. I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
I'm kidding.
Dude, I'm really getting sick of the hypocrisy. Like, it's
Fair.
fucking, I need to let it go away. What do I need
I called
to do,
you
guys?
a bitch when you left.
NineTails, what do I need to do to let go of this, like, hypocrisy thing, like, irk
Stop
that
caring.
I have?
Yeah.
Stop
So
caring.
if it turned out Hasan was wrong, I'd say, yeah, you fucked up.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if he's right. It doesn't matter. Even if he turned out to have the right position.
not likely to be
he's
wrong,
so
though.
wrong for how he came to the position. It doesn't matter. He can
No,
he
it's
can
not
be
likely.
right.
You don't.
It doesn't
you
matter.
don't. You don't tell
Well,
people what the
that's
news
the
is based
point.
off the probability of it being right. That's fucking
When you're a
dumb.
rhetorician, you do.
No, you
No,
don't.
that's like the
That's
West
called
Coast.
being a
Confusing
fucking
journalism and
liar.
rhetoricism.
That's like the
This is
weather.
not a good distinction.
You're confusing journalists and
Oh,
rhetoricians.
God. We're beating a dead horse. It's true,
Yeah.
Grey Pill.
Oh, brother.
It helps to be able to make this distinction
I'm
for you to
standing
have
my
standards that are consistent. Because
No.
if you did hold these standards, then would you really relate with people like Destiny so freely?
Yeah, because he actually, Destiny
Yes,
tries very hard
Sometimes.
He clarifies
and
if he
gets
doesn't know.
things wrong, people call him out on
Yeah.
it too. Like it's not like
Oh,
people
yeah.
are like,
I've
"Oh, I
yeah, but
associate with him, so I'm not going to call him out now." He's just a
But have you never
rhetorician. It
seen-
doesn't matter.
Just because
Nobody
you've never
does
seen
it.
Hasan do that, well, just because you've never seen Hasan do that doesn't mean he does that. Doesn't do that. I've seen him
Hold
do that.
on, but
I'm not saying he doesn't do
I
that.
guarantee
I'm
you.
saying
I guarantee
either
you. I
way.
guarantee you that if it comes out that changes, you can watch his streams, and within 2 days, he will change his fucking tune, and he will be
Like
like,
he did
I
with-
guarantee
like he
he will
did with the
say,
claims about Russia.
Okay,
yeah.
I've been watching a lot of Kenny versus Fenny. I think we place a
Oh
bet,
no, this again.
and if we lose, whoever
to be
loses,
fair, I
there's a
got-
humiliation challenge decided by the other person.
Show us
I
that.
You're
can't
missing
say
the
that 'cause
It
I
point.
got
doesn't
two
matter.
bets. I
Again,
got two
I
bets
keep
up in
saying it
January. I
doesn't
can't do it.
matter if he
Has to
ends
be
up being
filmed and
right or
posted to their
wrong in the
YouTube
end.
channel. Has to be filmed
Again,
and posted to their YouTube channel.
Again, it
NineTails, you
doesn't
missed the
matter.
point
It
yet
doesn't
again.
matter.
You've managed to go a whole
I'm
conversation
not
and
talking
you've
about
still
it
missed the
until
point.
you agree to my challenge.
It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. You're bringing up
So
something
I'm
so
willing to die on
irrelevant.
this hill because I think it's a hill worth dying on. There's your answer. Because I'm
But it's
feeling pretty safe
irrelevant.
with
That's
that
fine.
challenge.
You win. You're right. I agree with you. It doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant. So we agree. Fine. You win that one. Now, back to the actual thing. He's still wrong for how he came to the conclusion in the first place. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Bro. Now that's
So
how you
you
come back
never
full
do that.
circle.
But just to be clear, everything you've ever said on panels can be traced back to a source that you read that was reputable every time.
Not for me.
No. You're again, you're doing this weird thing where you're acting like people can't get things wrong. If I do,
Right.
and people
This
call me
issue,
out
yeah.
on it, then I'm not going to
So it's
sit
not
there
an
and be like,
absolution,
oh, it's
right? You
okay.
can't
I'm a
work with
rhetorician,
absolution.
guys. It's all right. Don't call me out for being wrong. I'm just a rhetorician.
No, I'm
I'm
saying you have
allowed
to
to
call
lie.
yourself out once you realize you're wrong.
Can I interject
Sure.
here quickly?
Rhetoricians.
Well,
before
he
you
hasn't
interject-
done that,
before
and
you
he's been
interject,
wrong for at least 48 hours now.
bullshit. So
I love that show.
thank you to whoever asked to interject, only for Mantis to not ask. So rhetoricians need to be ahead of the curve and be doing point scoring for the audience that is less engaged. That is the niche
okay.
Hasan
Yes,
fills.
what you're talking about is what we call immoral.
Do you also
Hey,
not
I'm-
realize that the point of debates, right?
Hold
So
on,
let's
Neve
say,
got
so
something to
remember
say.
that he got
I wanna
cornered,
hear
and the
some
point of
fresher
debate
eyes
is
on
also
this.
to maintain
Something way
your
more important
position.
than what you're saying
I
right
would
now,
like
NineTails.
I would like
Would
to
Okay,
hear
we,
some fresher
would we
eyes on this.
agree? Yes or no? Would we agree? Yes or no? The point of debate is also
No,
No,
I would
I'm
like
going
to
to
hear
maintaining your
disagree
Neve.
with
position.
literally everything you say
I
from
would
now
like to
on
hear
because
Neve.
everything
I would like to hear
you're
Neve.
Okay.
you're
I would like to hear
talking you're
Neve.
talking in
So she's a
circles.
rhetorician.
You all would like suck at formal debate. I'm just saying.
I would like to. Granted,
Okay.
I would like to hear Neve.
So would you, because you can't stop like ripping on people and you don't shut up. All right. I'm running out of B puns for my Discord, so if you could think of any, just let me know. All right, thanks. Back
What
to
are
the
B
conversation.
puns?
Okay.
You said B puns?
What are B puns?
We need an explainer
to my
for
jokes?
But,
The Neve
okay,
Hive.
okay. So, all right, I have to take it back a few steps here. The origin story here. Somebody named
God.
my community because I'm trying to get my Discord going. Okay. Somebody
Okay.
named my community the Neve Hive, right? Because when I was in the Black Manosphere a lot, they used to call me a transformer because they're super transphobic. But I
Oh, yeah.
said, fuck you. I'ma own it like everyone else. Because everyone else, if you start getting ripped on by something there and you start getting bothered by it, you'll never hear the end of it. So you have to lean into it. So when I first like made my debut there, I was wearing this like yellow thingy. So I leaned into it and I was like, yeah, bitch, I'm a transformer. Also, I'm Bumblebee because I was all yellow. You know what I mean? Everybody know
Oh,
what that is?
okay. I got it.
And then,
That's funny.
yeah, it is pretty
I
fucking
mean, it's
funny.
pretty
know.
self-explanatory from there. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, from there,
not
yeah, I got
everyone.
If there's a particularly good joke, please indulge us.
All right. Anyways, and then somebody who frequented my chat says, "Oh, it's the Neve Hive." So I was like, "Ha ha ha!" So now my Discord is all B puns, and I'm running out of them. So, yeah.
I thought your Discord
Oh.
was just calling you a bitch in punny ways.
No. Okay, but here's the really funny one. There's the VIB. It's the very important B.
Neve, you know you could just Google corny corny B puns, right?
Oh fuck.
Good for you. There you go. Good for you. This is the problem right here. This is the problem here with
Have you guys ever heard of the song Paper Hive?
I don't know. Neve, you can actually Google B puns.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
why
song
didn't
Paper
I-
Hives by B.O.B.
Look at there. Spray pill came through again.
Hey, if anyone
shut up-
had
shut up for
like
me.
the
My
sad
work here
trumpet
is-
sound, and
Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. NineTails, I'm trying to get my my outro out. Yes.
Okay.
Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. My
Here's
work
what we
here
have.
is my work here is done.
Okay, this is
Okay.
what we have here so far. Okay, so
He's
the
called
buzz.
me a racist, and now he's good.
No, I just proved you're a racist. So I'm gonna clip this from Kanko, then I'm gonna make
That's
some
like-
YouTube beef.
Fucker.
That's like a Duke Nukem.
You're
kind of
going
sentence,
down,
right?
tomfoolery.
It's
I've
all
been
right.
watching
I'm
you for
used to it
10
at this
years.
point. If you understood intersectionality, you would understand why white men like me are always called
We don't need to
racist.
hear-
and
Yeah, Tom's not
down
allowed.
for just being
Based
white
and
and saying
clan-pilled.
facts.
Plus, Tom's not
I've
actually
been
allowed
watching
to
for
take
10
offense
years.
with
I've
what
been
Grey
waiting
Pill
for this
said
day
because
for
that
a
would be
long
racist.
time. The world gonna know.
Right, Tom?
NineTails, I thought you were leaving. I wanted to talk shit about you. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna go now. I've got to go.
Oh, I was here for it.
Oh, can we swap out? No, it needs to go.
You should go
NineTails
watch
NineTails,
my
alright,
review
business.
of
My bad,
Hasan's
Neve, my
thing.
bad.
I
Okay.
literally
The
I think I
fuck?
probably yelled for like
My
5
bad,
minutes
Neve.
straight.
AKA
Man, because I watched it this
AKA
morning.
Tom's echo chamber.
Go NineTails.
I watched it this
No,
morning
wasn't.
and I was going insane. And then I went in food shops general and was saying, what the fuck, what the fuck? And then a few people were like, what do you mean? He didn't do anything. There's nothing wrong here. And I was just like, I think I'm going,
it's really not
well,
that
as being
bad.
online, I feel like I'm going insane a lot of the time.
All right, hold on.
Yeah,
I'm
you
trying
need
to
to
get
watch
maybe,
some
NineTails
like,
was trying to
review it.
leave.
Maybe you're
NineTails was trying to
uptight
leave.
because you're new here and you have like these like high-minded ideas of how it's all supposed to go. But let me tell
Well,
you,
you know what I realized? No, I'm too old for this shit now. I've realized that I have some high standards, I suppose, but a lot of most of my life, people have told me to like lower them and just lower the bar and lower expectations. You know what I
oh
realized?
no, not like
Fuck that.
I'm not telling you
Not
that as
lowering
a
them.
woman, obviously.
That's
Like
right,
I
you
don't
go,
think
girl.
you're like
Fuck that.
settling for
NineTails was leaving.
Hasan.
NineTails, he was leaving.
Shut the fuck up, Grey Pill.
Yeah.
Nine
By the
Tails
way,
said
I'm
she
not
was
saying
leaving.
like you're like settling for Hasan. No, I don't think you should lower your standards that way. All I'm saying is that when you make the distinction between rhetorician and journalist, and debater and rhetorician, and look at the niche he
I
occupies,
disagree with you on this point.
a lot of these criticisms
It's
mean a
dumb.
lot less. They mean at least
This
half
point's a
as
dumb
much.
point.
Yeah,
This point is just a weaseling out of the actual point, and I
Okay.
think you keep doing it, and I just disagree with you
I
wholeheartedly.
still haven't heard why you actually
Like
disagree with
Hamas
that.
disagrees with Israel, I disagree with
Because audience
Wrong.
and responsibility. That's why. That's it.
Yeah, no, but-
That's the
but
only
here's the thing.
reason.
We agree on those things, right? I think Hasan does have a responsibility to be pushing back on the other side of the disinformation, which is the pro-Israel side.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I gotta go.
Just detonate that part of your brain. Let
go cherry pick some more, Manta.
I gotta head out, Tim.
Have a good
All
night.
right. See you later, Tom.
Go try and pick more.
Bye.